Guess who has his voice back? I don't even know where to begin. It's been a full year since I've posted my very first YouTube video for this one channel. And I can't thank you all enough for the love and the support for this channel. I've hit finally just under 400, so 397 subscribers for this tiny little channel. I'm very, very happy where things are going with this. Time really does fly. I can't believe it's a whole year already. It's been fun. It's been very exciting for me, being very vulnerable and just getting out of my comfort zone. I am still worried about what my family members and colleagues and friends may think of me, perhaps a little bit less than before. Some of my colleagues have told me that they actually watch my videos and they find things to be somewhat helpful, and that I should probably turn this into a podcast, which I'm not sure if I'll have time to do, but I'm a very visual learner, so I think I'm probably going to try to keep things the way they are for now, with the idea of doing maybe a podcast-like thing at a later time. So I kind of wanted to do this one video just so that it's a reminder for myself, so I can kind of look back and reflect as well, but I wanted to go through some of the pros and cons and what it's done for me personally. The very first pro that I'd like to say is that it's actually helped me quite a bit for my work. It's been forcing me to keep up with the literature for cardiology. Some of those new guidelines have been coming out, and the research and the studies that have gone to sort of back those recommendations up. I have a much clearer idea of what they're based on. Honestly, it does sort of mean less time for some of the other things I like to do, such as cooking and calligraphy, etc. But I find that by being more confident and possibly more competent at work through keeping up with the literature, I do feel like my everyday job is more fulfilling by the end of each day. Honestly, I'll be reading new studies in like New England or Jack while I'm sitting on the toilet for like 5 minutes. TMI, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but it's something that I've noticed that I've been doing just whenever I have a spare moment, that I actually still thumb through cardiology trials and try to keep up, as opposed to doom scrolling on random videos. I still do that sometimes, but I've been trying to do less of it. Another positive is that I find that I've been smiling more at work, particularly when I'm speaking to patients or nurses or doing counseling sessions with my patients. I think part of it does come with doing these videos and speaking to a camera with a smile on my face. I do also find that patients are more engaged when I do that as well. So I think I'm going to keep that up. Learning to break things down in more digestible bits for patients and nurses, and using more analogies when I'm explaining things. This is the type of feedback that I do get from my colleagues, my nurses and patients, and I think I'm going to continue doing that as well. This channel has sort of forced me to do more of that. Another pro is that I've been learning other things from the audience that the audience has kindly informed me about. Like, who knew that in the States that they have Xarelto coupons for like $10 a month? Or I wouldn't have known that a single dose of amiodarone can lead to long-term side effects and illness. I always assumed and just thought that it was more of a long-term accumulation thing, but I can kind of see that as being something that can happen with just one exposure as well. This channel so far has given me the opportunity to sort of explain things to individuals and to help them understand some basic science things that they can feel a little bit more confident or comfortable speaking with their doctors about. And just as a disclaimer, I will always try to reiterate, I am not your healthcare provider. I am here as a bit of a support network in the event that you have any questions that you need to address with your own healthcare providers. I love how we have a bit of a shared learning space here. I don't know everything, nor am I going to try to act like I do, or try not to anyway. I'm also constantly learning. I'm constantly wanting to stay on top of, literature, etc., so I don't become obsolete. One of the other things that I try to do as part of this channel is more of on a personal level, is that trying to get over that perfectionistic trait for me. I always want to present things as neatly and tidy as possible, but one of the problems with doing that is that it becomes very time consuming and I just can't stay on top of everything. So I'm not sure if that made sense. So finding the right balance of what is important and what I need to speak of and how I bring that across to you as a viewer. Some obstacles though that I want to talk about, that over the year I've noticed that finding the time to thoughtfully respond to comments is difficult. My day is packed already as it is, but I do find a lot of joy whenever I see a comment with really, really good questions. And the audience, I find, have been putting in a lot of really good questions for me. Some that I will have to think about, maybe do a little bit of research just to make sure that things make sense, and then, actually respond in a thoughtful way. One of the other things that I'm kind of guilty of is I've kind of forgotten to respond to some comments. Like I'll literally be reading up a comment and then say my kids are yelling for my attention, and then I have to go drop everything, and then I go back and I totally forgot that I've read this message, and then a week later I'm reviewing all the comments from before and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't responded to this. Apologies. I will try to get better with that. Another obstacle that I've been finding for myself is that I still have a lot of this imposter syndrome, and watching other channels has made me feel a little bit more intimidated. For example, the VYEN channel. If you haven't watched him yet, he's this amazing PhD candidate who seems to share some common interests in heart disease as I do. You should really go check him out. Video editing has been a challenge, time consuming for me. So what I'm going to try to do is try not to do too much. Moving forward, I think what I'm going to do is do more of this kind of thing where I just talk into the camera. If I have ahs and ums, I will try to leave those in and not fuss about them. And the point of doing that, I guess, is hopefully over time it'll train me to not to do that. And so therefore it'll cut down my video editing time as well. I think I'm doing less of this now already. I do have to pause, but that's okay. That's just part of the process. Yeah. So another obstacle is that I know this is supposed to be something that I will dabble on over lunchtime or whatnot, but given how busy it is with both the clinical and administrative duties that I have to do for work, I'm often having to skip lunches again. I'm gonna try to make a more conscious effort to do that, but it has been a struggle. I do have some fantastic news though. Our hospital is looking to hire a second cardiology pharmacist for my unit. We do have some expansion happening for our hospital. We're gonna get 2 new cath labs coming up. So with the work that I've done over the last 10 years or so, I was able to demonstrate to them that there is value to having a very keen clinical pharmacy specialist to actually get funding for a second pharmacist. So that's one of the biggest accomplishments that I've had over the last few years. And we finally got approval as of last month. Another obstacle, which you kind of have a sense of this already, is that I do have this tendency to hesitate when I speak. I just need to just go for it. I wrestle with this a lot at times, but I think it's getting better. You can tell me if it's getting better. A lot of my more recent videos, they seem more polished because I've had to spend more time editing out the stuff that I don't want in the videos. Like I said, moving forward, I'm gonna try to let that go. Trying to do too much is another thing. You will notice that for some of my videos, particularly the journal club videos that are very, very content heavy, I do sound kind of robotic in them. And you will see that my eyes will be kind of glued to the camera and it just doesn't feel as natural. I don't know for certain from the audience whether you feel a little bit more disengaged with those types of videos, but when I go back and look at those videos, sometimes I do find that it's hard for me to actually connect with myself when I'm watching my own video. It'll look like I'm reading off of a teleprompter, and it's because I actually was reading off of a teleprompter. I actually made my own teleprompter for anybody who's interested in knowing. It literally consists of a cardboard box and a piece of glass that's sort of angled, and I just would slip my iPad underneath, and I've downloaded an app called YAM Display, which funny enough is compatible with my old iPad 2, and it actually has a function where you can actually flip it into teleprompter mode. So whatever I have on my screen on my computer, I can actually display it on my iPad in reverse. It's great, but like I said before, it is a little bit more robotic, more regimented. It was good in that I could just read out stuff that I've written before, but I think I'm going to try to do less of that. I want to be able to connect with you. You will see that a lot of videos from other healthcare professionals on YouTube, they will look at the screen and I could tell that they are actually also reading from a teleprompter, and then I think I do find myself less engaged as well. I don't want to be like that. So where do I go from here? I have about like 100 different ideas that I actually want to make videos of. I just don't have the time to sit down and really record what I have to say about them. I think what I need to do is go back to each of those ideas that I've listed and actually just break down in bullet points what are some of the things I need to talk to you guys about, which I will probably end up doing when I start to have more time. And this means I do need to make more time. And I do have a bit of a system that I'm working on. It does require me getting up really, really early in the morning though. But I do find that I am very much more productive when I do that. So I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to try to slowly chip away at those ideas and then go from there. I'm always wanting to read up on new studies that come out and want to review them, but I also have limited time. And work certainly does not grant me any time to really do that, unfortunately. So I have to do this on my own time. So I just got to be really smart about it. There are trials and studies and whatnot that I might not be aware of that you might be aware of. So if you happen to come across any studies or any trials that you want me to review and bring to the audience my perspective, please feel free to drop a comment in any of my videos and just say, hey, Herb, I noticed that there was a study. I think this is what the author wants to conclude from it, but I want your take. What do you think? And I would be more than happy to try to give you my take on it, provided that I'm aware of the study or whatnot. So in addition to always wanting to keep up with new studies, I always want to kind of go back and look at old literature and older studies, because a lot of the stuff that we've been noticing warrants reanalysis because the landscape of cardiology is constantly changing and improving. Overall, what this means is that the videos that I produce moving forward, maybe for the next year or so, is that they're going to be more raw. They're going to be less packaged. There may be less visuals, but at least we are having these discussions and hopefully having more of these discussions. I think what's really important is just getting some of these things across to you guys, and hopefully you guys can also relay back to me whether I'm completely nuts or not, and whether I need to change my perspective for the way I'm thinking about things. It's something I need to learn to let go of. Nobody's perfect, and I'm definitely far from it. And so I'm just gonna force myself to do and just do it. And I encourage that you, if you are keen on, if there's anything that you are interested in doing and talking about or passionate about, that you have something to share with the world, that you try to do the same. And hopefully this video will inspire you to do the same as well. There are tons of content creators out there, literally millions. But I think what's been very helpful for me as a content creator here is that I've been trying to be a little bit consistent. If I can't post a full long form video, that I at least try to take some of those elements from that long form video and break it up into short form. And that these short form videos, I think, are what is helping me and helping this channel grow when, say, for example, I'm super busy with work and teaching that I can't produce long form videos, or if I have like laryngitis and I can't even record. That's a tip for you if you are curious in wanting to stumble upon this hobby. What do you think? What do you think I should do? Any ideas that you have for this channel would be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please consider giving this small channel a little support. Oh, hey! You guys are here. Okay, time to go. So, hey, it's okay. If you haven't already, please consider giving this small channel a little support through giving a thumbs up and the usual social media things like subscribing, hitting the notification bell, etc. And I know that we will connect again. And thank you all for tuning in, and remember to say no to drugs.